Have you noticed? The more people you meet, the lonelier you feel when you come home. You smile, you listen, you play your part, and yet the silence afterward feels louder than any crowd. They told you loneliness is dangerous, but maybe what's truly dangerous is forgetting who you are when you're never alone. You go to dinners, talk about weather, work, plans, but inside something whispers, none of this fills me anymore. That whisper isn't sadness, it's truth. Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "The more a man has in himself, the less he needs from the world." He wasn't praising isolation. He was describing freedom. Because when you stop chasing company, you start meeting someone far more important, yourself. Stillness is not laziness, it's repair. The Stoics called it returning to your circle of control. The few things no one can take, your thoughts, your peace, your integrity. Every time you stay home and think clearly, you choose not to perform. You choose not to beg for approval. You choose strength that doesn't need applause. And in that quiet choice, you begin to realize you were never running from the world. You were running back to yourself. When life gets loud, where do you go inside to hear yourself again? Why staying home is power. Crowded rooms can leave an inner emptiness. That isn't antisocial. It's your mind signaling misalignment. It's strange how full a room can be and how empty it still feels inside. You try to explain it, but how do you describe a silence that hurts and heals at the same time? They told you staying home means you're missing life. But Schopenhauer said something different. The more a man has in himself, the less he will need from the world. He wasn't praising loneliness, he was describing self-sufficiency, the quiet dignity of not needing to perform. Think about it. Most days you wake up and step into a small play. You wear the right face, say the right things, move with the rhythm others expect. It's like standing in a crowded elevator. Everyone's talking, but no one's breathing. And when you finally step out, your peace feels lighter than air. Staying home isn't hiding, it's healing. When the noise stops, you start hearing the quiet truth underneath, your thoughts finding their real tone again. The Stoics called this returning to your circle of control, the place that saw you untouched by gossip, status, or approval. Out there, people measure your worth by motion. How busy you look, how connected you seem, how fast you move. But motion is not meaning. The wind can spin for hours and still not travel anywhere. You've probably felt that too, running all day, yet by night, feeling like you've gone nowhere real. At home, you stop spinning. You sit with your own company, awkward at first, then slowly, it starts to feel natural again. Awkward doesn't mean wrong, it just means you're meeting yourself again. The mind stops begging for distraction. The heart stops reaching for noise. And that's when clarity enters. Quietly, like morning light through the curtains. You start to notice the simple things, the sound of your own breathing, the way light lands on the floor, the calm in doing one small thing with full attention, washing a cup, folding a shirt. That's not wasted time. That's life finally slowing down enough for you to feel it. Stillness isn't absence, it's maintenance. It's where your energy refills and your boundaries return. It's where you remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Maybe peace doesn't come from finding more, but from finally stopping long enough to see what's already here. Of course, it's not easy to stay still. Some days, silence feels heavier than noise. But that's part of learning peace. And when you're steady inside, you return to your people better, calmer, kinder, more responsible. The Stoics believe peace is not given, it's built, like a muscle that grows every time you choose silence over noise, truth over comfort, presence over performance. So if the world calls you distant, smile gently. You're not distant. You're discerning. You're not avoiding people. You're protecting your alignment. You're not escaping life. You're choosing the version that's still yours, because every time you stay home and sit in honest quiet, you're not shrinking. You're expanding inward, into the space the world forgot to explore. And one day, that quiet will no longer feel like solitude. It will feel like power. When did stillness last feel like power to you? The theater of life. One evening, a man stood at a company dinner, smiling, nodding, blending in. He laughed at stories he'd heard before, raised his glass when everyone else did, and talked about the weekend like it mattered. By the end of the night, his cheeks hurt from pretending. You know that feeling after small talk, like you smiled for hours but forgot why. No one had insulted him, yet something in him felt quietly drained, as if he'd been paying a bill he didn't remember owing. That's the hidden cost of performance. We wear faces so often that we forget how our real one feels. We adjust our tone, our opinions, our truth, not because we're weak, but because we're afraid that being honest will make the room colder. Schopenhauer called this the fatigue of existence, the exhaustion of always standing slightly outside yourself. And the Stoics saw it too. They said the moment you start shaping yourself for others, you begin losing command of your inner empire. Think about how much energy goes into the simple act of appearing fine. Every nod, every polite smile, every conversation that skips the truth costs a small piece of your authenticity. At first, you don't notice. Then one day you wake up and realize you built a life that looks right, but feels nothing like peace. Society rewards performance. It trains you to be agreeable, to smile through disinterest, to mistake politeness for truth. But the Stoics warned, if you spend your life pleasing others, you will forget what pleases you. It's like constantly tuning your instrument to match the noise around you, until one day you don't remember what your note sounds like. That's why solitude feels strange at first. It's not emptiness, it's the sound of your true frequency returning. When you stop performing, silence becomes uncomfortable because you start hearing the echo of everything you've ignored. The unspoken anger, the small betrayals you brushed off, the dreams you postponed for approval. But once that echo fades, something extraordinary happens. You begin to breathe differently, deeper, slower, honest. The next time you find yourself in a room full of noise, try staying quiet. You'll notice something odd. Silence always makes people nervous. They rush to fill it, as if honesty might slip out if the air stays still too long. Listen to how rarely truth enters the conversation. Most people talk not to connect, but to hide from silence. And that's okay. You don't have to judge them. You just have to decide whether you'll keep joining the play. The man at that dinner didn't hate the people around him. He just realized he'd spent years acting in a story that wasn't his. So he excused himself early, walked out into the cold night, and felt the air hit his face like a reset button. No applause, no audience. Just peace. That's when he understood. Freedom doesn't begin when others stop controlling you. It begins when you stop performing for them. The world may call you quiet. Let them. Stillness has its own charisma. You don't need to shout truth to live it. You just need to stop rehearsing and start being. Because the moment you stop acting, your real life begins. You felt that too, haven't you? That quiet exhaustion after pretending? Take a breath. If this truth found you at the right time, leave a trace below. Words build bridges between quiet souls. You can stop trying to leave the crowd. Just stop losing yourself inside it. It's enough to notice where you pretend the most. The Gift of Solitude. There's a moment, usually late at night, when the world finally stops demanding things from you. No notifications, no meetings, no noise. Just the low hum of the city at a distance and the quiet sound of your own breathing filling the room. Most people can't stand that moment. They turn on a screen, call someone, find another distraction. But the ones who stay, the ones who sit inside that silence long enough to meet themselves again, they discover something sacred. Schopenhauer wrote that a man can be himself only so long as he is alone. He didn't mean isolation, he meant restoration. The difference between running from the world and returning to yourself is intention. When you withdraw to hide, you shrink. When you withdraw to realign, you expand. There's a certain honesty that only appears in solitude. When no one's watching, masks lose their purpose. You stop trying to impress your own reflection. You notice small things, how tense your shoulders have been, how long it's been since you sat still without guilt, how much you've been rushing toward things that don't last. It's like standing in front of a lake, the water still, the surface clear, and suddenly realizing you've spent years chasing ripples instead of depth. That's the gift of solitude. It shows you what was always there, beneath all emotion. The Stoics believed silence was a kind of mirror. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a man's mind slowly takes the color of what it thinks about. What you focus on, you become. So when you spend time alone, you're not emptying yourself. You're recoloring the mind back to its original tone. Some people fear solitude because it feels like disappearing. But you're not disappearing. You're reappearing where you belong. You're taking your power back from every place you left it, in other people's opinions, in conversations that drained you, in the noise that convinced you you had to be seen to exist. When you stay alone long enough, you start seeing through illusions. You notice how fast trends fade, how shallow most ambitions are, how rare it is to meet someone who listens without waiting to talk. And instead of feeling bitter, you feel calm, because you finally understand what Schopenhauer meant when he said the intelligent man seeks quiet not out of disdain, but out of understanding. He saw that solitude isn't a punishment. It's a privilege, the workshop of clarity. This is where real strategy is born. Harvard research shows that our best problem solving happens not during activity, but when the brain enters its default mode network. The calm state of thought you only reach when you're truly alone. Solitude doesn't replace community, it prepares you for it. You repair your thoughts there. You build discipline there. You remember that peace isn't given by the world. It's built inside you. The Stoics called this the inner strength you can't fake, a fortress no one can invade, a home that moves with you wherever you go. Every time you choose solitude over distraction, you lay one more brick in that wall. And slowly, that wall stops being defense. It becomes strength. So the next time the world tells you that being alone is a sign of emptiness, smile quietly. Because only those who have never met themselves believe company is the cure. You already have everything you were looking for. Take one slow breath. That silence you feel, it's not absence, it's repair. You just needed silence loud enough to hear it. But what if the world isn't stealing your time? It's stealing your focus. If you had 10 quiet minutes daily, what would you stop doing first? The war for your attention. If attention felt slippery today, forgive yourself. The design was against you, and now the choice is with you. You think you're free because no one tells you what to do. But look closer. How many of your thoughts are really yours? You wake up, reach for your phone, and before your eyes even adjust to light, you've already entered someone else's world. That's not freedom, That's programming with good marketing. And it's not your fault. The world was built to keep you scrolling. Not because you're weak, but because you care. Every beep, every scroll, every red dot, it's not random. It's designed to turn your focus into fuel. You are the product, and your attention is the currency. The only free thing left online is the illusion that you're the customer. And the cruel part? You spend it willingly. Schopenhauer warned about this centuries before the internet. He said the unintelligent man fears silence, because silence reveals how empty he's become. And the world, clever as it is, made sure you never meet silence again. Now we carry the noise in our pockets. Ask yourself, when was the last time you woke up and heard nothing? No alerts, no voices, no opinions trying to rent space in your head. You can't remember, can you? Because distraction has become the new oxygen. Studies show that the average person checks their phone over 300 times a day, and it takes more than 20 minutes to regain full focus after each interruption. No wonder peace feels rare. But the beauty is you can still choose when to breathe deeply again. You breathe it all day and call it connection. But connection without consciousness isn't intimacy. It's dependency. It's like standing in the rain, holding a glass upside down. You're surrounded by water, yet somehow you're still thirsty. The Stoics saw this coming. They called it the disease of scattered attention. Seneca wrote, you become what you pay attention to. So look at what you've become. Fragments of headlines, bits of outrage, echoes of strangers you'll never meet. They taught that the first act of freedom isn't rebellion, it's refusal. To say, my mind is not for sale. To decide, I will not react on command. To remember, peace is a choice, not a feat. So here's the test. One morning, don't touch your phone, just wake up and watch how your mind panics for a hit of noise. Watch how quickly silence feels dangerous. That's how you know you have been trained. Stay with it. Don't rush to fill the space. Breathe through the urge to check, refresh, reply. What you'll notice isn't emptiness, it's withdrawal. Not from the world, but from the addiction of reaction. The Stoics called this mastery of attention the first gate of self-command, because once you can hold your focus, you can hold your peace. And once you can hold your peace, no system, no screen, no voice can own you again. Schopenhauer believed the intelligent man seeks quiet not out of arrogance, but out of self-preservation. He knew that the loudest chains are invisible, made of opinions, alerts, and endless stimulation. So if you want to be free in this century, you don't need to run away. You just need to reclaim what the world quietly stole, your attention. Guard it like a sacred doorway. Every small moment of awareness is already a victory. One quiet choice that rewires your mind back to freedom. Notice how your mind feels clearer right now. That's what happens when attention returns home. Stay with it. Subscribe, not to a channel, but to the part of you that still listens. Because what passes through it becomes your life. Every time you choose silence over noise, you train freedom back into your mind. And once you remember that, the war ends. What's one tiny habit that hijacks your morning focus? The endless chase for more. Look around, most of what exhausts you didn't even begin as yours. The car you wanted, the job you chased, the lifestyle you compared against, all planted by a world that sells hunger as ambition. It often passes for progress. You've seen this, haven't you? You finally get the thing you wanted, and within days, your attention slides to the next desire, like water finding another crack. The world trains you to live like that, to chase applause, status, validation, as if meaning were a ladder you climb. It's like buying things you don't need just to feel you're moving forward. It's hard to want less in a world built on wanting, but it's the only way peace lasts. But the Stoics warned, a man who needs the world to feel full will forever be ruled by what he cannot control. It's not about being above desire. No one is. It's about noticing when desire starts using you. It's like running on a treadmill. You're sweating, you're moving, but you're not arriving anywhere. You finish a project, cross another item off the list, and yet the mind whispers, what's next? It's strange how quickly satisfaction turns into search, as if peace had an expiration date. Every new want feels urgent, but peace never seems to show up at the finish line. Both Schopenhauer and the Stoics saw it the same way. We start serving the very things we thought would serve us. Two different languages. One truth, you can't be free while you're owned by what you crave. So what happens when you stop running? At first, discomfort. Because silence doesn't only test your patience, it tests your identity. Without wanting, who are you? Without striving, what's left to measure? But stay still long enough and something miraculous happens. Your mind stops acting like a beggar and starts acting like a craftsman. You begin shaping meaning instead of chasing it. It's like finally sitting down after running all day and realizing peace was waiting right where you started. You realize the power was never in having. It was in seeing clearly. That's when the swinging slows. Not because life gets easier, but because you stop swinging between illusion and exhaustion. You start choosing simplicity without shame. You start respecting calm the way others worship noise. The Stoics said, "He who has little but wants nothing is rich." Schopenhauer would agree, because the richest moment is the one when you can look around your quiet room and feel no lack. It doesn't mean you give up ambition. It means your ambition changes shape. It stops being about possession and becomes about preservation, of peace, of clarity, of self-command. When you stop feeding the will, life starts feeding you. You're not giving up desire, you're giving it direction. Return to yourself, not with thrill, but with steadiness. Not with applause, but with awareness. And that's the hidden reward Schopenhauer tried to teach. That freedom isn't in satisfying the will, but in outgrowing it. So tonight, before you reach for the next goal, ask quietly, is this desire mine, or just another echo of the world's hunger? If it vanished tomorrow, would I still be me? Because every time you silence an unneeded want, you rise above the endless chase for more and step back into the peace that can't be sold. They say strength means endurance, but maybe the strongest move is to stop carrying what isn't yours. So far, we've walked through the noise, the masks, the hunger, and arrived at the one truth every thinker found. Peace begins when performance ends. Have you ever got what you wanted and felt like you were starting over the next day? What's one desire that stopped feeling like yours? The strength of saying no, you stop performing. Now comes the harder part, protecting that truth. Everyone talks about power, power to achieve, power to connect, power to win. But the rarest power of all is the power to refuse. You were taught that saying yes makes you kind, open, adaptable. But look at your life. Every exhausted morning, every restless night, they began with a yes you didn't mean. You said yes to keep peace and lost it. It's funny how we spend years learning how to say hello, but never learn how to say no without guilt. You said yes to be liked and felt smaller. You said yes to stay connected and drifted from yourself. The truth is quiet but brutal. Most people aren't overwhelmed because they lack time, but because they lack boundaries. Schopenhauer wrote that happiness isn't about gaining more, but needing less. He meant that peace doesn't arrive through addition, it survives through subtraction. The art of peace is the art of removal. Now look around. The invitation, the favors, the expectations. Each one whispers, just this once. But every just once is a thread, and together they pull you apart. The Stoics saw this as self-command. To say no is to announce to the world, my peace is non-negotiable. It is the clearest form of self-respect you can offer. They said the man who cannot say no isn't kind. He's captive. He's chained not by force, but by fear of disappointing others. Think about it. Every time you say yes against your truth, you build a life that doesn't fit. And then you wonder why it feels heavy. It's like trying to walk through water while holding everyone's bags. You think you're helping, but all you're doing is drowning slower. Saying no isn't cruelty, it's clarity. It's how the soul remembers its shape. When you start refusing what doesn't align, you don't lose friends. You lose confusion. At first, it feels cold. You'll see disappointment in faces you once tried to please. But stay steady, because what's leaving you isn't love. It's control dressed as affection. And when you protect your peace, you protect your ability to love, to show up with patience, not resentment. If this reminded you of someone who's always giving too much, share it. Not to teach them, but to remind them they're allowed to rest too. Boundaries aren't betrayal. They're the shape of responsible love. Saying no is not rejection. It's redirection toward peace. Return to yourself. Schopenhauer said the wise live like fortresses, not to keep people out, but to keep their peace in. A fortress isn't isolation. It's intentional space. Inside those walls, you can think, create, and rest without apology. So the next time someone asks for more than you can give, pause, breathe once. Then remember this. Every no that protects your peace is really a yes to the life you were meant to live. You're allowed to do it without a script. One honest boundary. This week changes how you sleep, breathe, and speak. Say it without guilt. Say it without explanation. Saying no won't always feel noble. Sometimes it just feels lonely for a while. And that's okay. And watch how the world rearranges itself around the strength of your boundaries. Because true power was never in how much you could hold, but in what you could finally lay down. And once the world can't steal your focus, it tries another trick: comparison. What's a polite no that gave you your peace back? The weight of comparison. You look at someone else's life, and for a moment you forget your own. Their smile looks easier. Their home feels warmer. Their path seems certain. And you start measuring your worth with someone else's ruler. It happens quietly, not out of envy, but out of exhaustion. You've tried so hard to do everything right, and still it feels like you're behind. But behind what? Behind whom? Schopenhauer called comparison the most foolish of all self-tortures. Modern psychology calls it the social comparison theory, the mind's tendency to measure itself against others. The more we compare, the less we feel our own progress. He saw that when a man looks outward too long, he stops seeing the richness within. The Stoics said the same thing in simpler words. You suffer more from imagination than from reality, because what you imagine in others is rarely true. You see the highlight, not the weight they carry. You see the applause, not the price they paid. Every person you compare yourself to is fighting a private war you can't see from your screen. Think about the last time you scrolled through success stories. You told yourself you were gathering inspiration, but beneath the surface, something in you started shrinking. That's how comparison steals quietly, not by insult, but by erosion. Feeling that sting doesn't make you ungrateful, it makes you human. Here's the paradox. The more you chase what others have, the further you drift from what's meant for you. It's like running after another man's shadow. The faster you go, the darker yours becomes. The Stoics practiced a discipline called the return to self. They trained their minds to pause whenever envy arose and ask one simple question: would I take their burdens too? Most of the time the answer was no, because envy fades when you see the full picture. So try this. When you feel that quiet sting of comparison, don't scroll faster. Pause. Breathe once. Say softly, "May they have peace, and so may I." That single thought frees you from the invisible race. You never needed to run. Your path was never meant to be a race. Turn admiration into support. Lift someone's path instead of shrinking your own. Because comparison is a mirror that lies. It shows you everything bright in others and everything unfinished in yourself, but never the full truth of either. Schopenhauer said the wise man seeks contentment in his own depth, not in others' applause. The more he turns inward, the lighter he walks. And that's the secret. It's enough to stop climbing higher. You need to stop climbing the wrong mountain, because peace isn't found when you win against others. It's found when you stop competing for what was never yours to begin with. If this voice feels like a quiet reminder you needed today, consider joining the community of people choosing inner wealth over external noise. Hit the like button, not for my approval, but for your commitment to this quiet path. You can't find yourself in other people's lives. You find yourself in the mirror you have been avoiding. Have you ever realized you are climbing the wrong mountain? The mirror test. You look in the mirror every morning, same face, same routine, but lately something feels unfamiliar, as if the reflection is honest in a way you're not ready for. He shaves, straightens his collar, checks the time. Everything looks fine. Yet behind the practiced movements, there's a silence that asks, "Who are you without the mask?" Most people never take that question seriously. They treat the mirror like a checklist: hair, skin, clothes, performance. A mirror doesn't judge, it just stops pretending with you. It doesn't reflect what you show, it reveals what you avoid. Sometimes honesty is nothing more than saying, "I'm tired of pretending I'm fine." It's okay. You don't need deep philosophy to face the mirror, only honesty. Schopenhauer wrote that man spends half his life acting and the other half denying he was acting. The Stoics called it self-forgetfulness, the habit of losing yourself in roles until you mistake the mask for the man. You see it everywhere: the boss who becomes his title, the parent who forgets who they were before responsibility, the friend who mirrors every room just to belong. They all pass the world's test, but fail the mirrors, because the mirror doesn't care about your name or your plans. It only reflects alignment, or the lack of it. It shows the space between who you are and who you've been pretending to be. And if you stare long enough, it starts to whisper, "Are you living your truth or your costume?" One morning, the man stopped rushing. He stood before the mirror and said nothing. No adjustment, no pretending, just presence. And for the first time in years, he didn't see exhaustion. He saw someone trying to return. The Stoics believed honesty was the root of freedom. They practiced self-examination not to feel guilty, but to stay awake. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you must do." The mirror is where that promise begins. If you're curious, tonight before you sleep, stand in front of a mirror with no lights except the dimmest glow. Don't fix, don't pose, don't hide, just look. Notice what stirs, the memories, the tension, the longing. That's not weakness. That's truth knocking to be let back in. Schopenhauer called solitude the school of self. The mirror is its first lesson, not the reflection, but the courage to meet it without flinching. Because the goal isn't to like what you see, it's to recognize it. Once you do, the mask falls quietly, and the man behind it finally breathes. It's okay to face the reflection before you try to fix it. Return to yourself. What's one relationship that gets better when you protect your inner quiet? You've been searching for peace in the noise, in people, in plans, in progress. But peace was never out there. It was the quiet pulse beneath everything, waiting for you to stop running long enough to feel it. Schopenhauer called solitude a return, not a retreat. The Stoics called it alignment with nature. Both were pointing to the same door, the one that opens the moment you stop chasing and start listening. Look back for a second. All the moments you called failure were really invitations. Every loss that emptied you was making room for something honest to grow. Every silence that frightened you was teaching you how to hear your own voice again. You thought you were losing people. You were losing versions of yourself that no longer belonged. That's not abandonment, it's refinement. You're not disappearing, you're distilling. The Stoics taught that freedom begins when desire ends, not the death of desire, but its purification. To want less because you've found more within. To stop performing because you've remembered who you are without the applause. So breathe, not to calm down, but to come back, to return to that inner room where no one else can enter. That's where your real life begins. Try choosing one honest word instead of two agreeable ones this week. That small, truthful choice is the first currency you reclaim from the world. It's as simple as saying no to one extra meeting or ending a call 5 minutes earlier to sit in quiet. Real life doesn't need a stage. It needs your presence. Schopenhauer said, "The more a man has in himself, the less he needs from the outside world." He didn't mean isolation, he meant fullness. To have a world inside you so rich that no amount of silence feels empty anymore. Try this. Close your eyes for 10 seconds and thank the quiet for not giving up on you. That silence has been waiting, patient, ancient, forgiving. When you rise tomorrow, don't rush to fill the day. Let one small act, making coffee, opening a window, feeding the light, become a prayer of presence. You'll notice that the world hasn't changed, only the way you stand inside it. Because once you've met yourself, you stop needing to be found. Once you've touched peace, you stop mistaking noise for life. We return to ourselves not to stay alone forever, but to show up to others more fully. Peace isn't walking away from life. It's walking back into it with a gentler heart. And when you return to yourself, the world returns to you. You won't get it perfect. No one does. But each quiet moment you choose is still a victory. Thank you for sharing this quiet space with me. I'm Mr. MD, and this is Move or Die Stoic. If this spoke to you, stay, not for me, but for the part of you that still listens. Stay home, think deeply, become yourself, and remember, the greatest journey you'll ever take is the one that leads you back to where you've always belonged.